Hello, hello, hi, hi, hi. I am re-recording this from earlier, so I do have a previous recording, but I love to stay true to my word, which was nobody's faces or videos would be seen. And for some reason, probably Mercury retrograde, people's faces were seen, even though I pinned my video. Doesn't matter. I'm doing this now, and I'm doing this right now to show you what we covered tonight on day one of our 3-day series for We Are the Guided Ones, and we are the writers, the content creators, the messengers of truth that we are here to share. So this is a gifted series. It's for divine and creative flow. And I want to share a little bit about what we covered tonight. So love me some quotes. Just want to share a couple with you. Every story that I create, it creates me. Isn't that juicy? I write to create myself. So all of the writing, all of the content creation, all of the communicating that we do, all the narratives and the stories that we share, continually recreate new iterations and versions of ourselves every day and every time that we sit down and intentionally commit to getting these ideas out, to sharing the story, however it is, recreates us. So it's a beautiful one. And the truth about stories is that's all that we are. Love me some Thomas King. Beautiful, beautiful work by Thomas King. If you ever get a chance to read any of his books, do it. It is so good. And then, of course, this other beautiful one to keep us centered and grounded in simplicity, right? So we're not overcomplicating our own creative process. I love what Charles says. An intellectual says a simple thing in a hard way, and an artist, which is what all of us are deep inside, an artist says the hard thing in a simple way. So we can overcomplicate our message and overthink it and try to make it perfect and try to overcomplicate it. When what if we just made it simple? And what if we said what we wanted to say? So when it comes to you as a being of divine messaging and divine communication to those around you, whether you're in business or not, right? We're all here sharing and communicating our experience of life, our perception, our worldviews. It's the lens that we create and recreate our own narrative from. And all stories, the messages that you're here to share, that we're all here to share, the narratives that we're all here to bring into the light, they begin always within ourselves. They're a message from us. They can't come from anywhere else but from us. So we are the ultimate caretakers and the givers of this message. And because of that, we are the stewards. We are the ones that take care and nurture our own stories, our own worldviews. And we're always looking to make better and have a deeper understanding of why we see the world the way we do, who we are being as we're sharing it. And really, it's up to us to continually take that soul leveled responsibility to continue to show up for ourselves, to continue to show up for our message, our mission, the magic that we're all here to share, and however we are designed to share it, however we're designed to share it. So we are the stewards of our own story. So for this particular series, I just want you to know what to expect, right? So that there's an understanding of what this container is created for. Ultimately, this container is created for you to get it down, to get it done, to distill it down, to refine it, to have a focused place to share it, and to be guided through this process, right? To be guided from the self, to be connected to that, and to be guided from those around us. So everybody that shows up, you are all the guides for each other as well. So here you're going to get focused writing blocks, focused blocks of time to write. That you'll have guided prompts. You can also show up and use this time as you wish. So if you know what you already want to work on, and you just want to know that there's a place that's created where you can come and you're accountable to it, show up and share as you wish. Absolutely. It's a place for you to get direct feedback, and it's a place for us to shake it up and have some movement breaks. All right. For the space to be safe, for the space to be safe. New insights are always, this is a safe place. So what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, right? And that the other piece I want to share is that we commit to clear requests. In other words, I'm really good at kind of intuitively knowing and sometimes like guessing a little bit and trying to kind of hone in on what it is you need. But it's even better when we can commit to having a level of clarity around what it is we need, right? And to know that we're responsible for any outcomes that we have in this time together, that We're here to show up, we're here to share, we're here to be focused, right? And to allow ourselves to be there. So my role as a facilitator is to help hold that intention for you in the best way that I can. And also, number one, this is so powerful. I like, can never say this enough. Like I say this all the time in my messaging, is that we are the guided ones and we are the deciders, right? And so just simply to decide that I'm going to get everything that I need out of this space, I'm going to show up to this space, it's going to give me everything that I'm willing and open to right now, and that I can't mess it up. I just can't mess up my own creative process. So when we decide that, we sort of set this beautiful tone and this beautiful willingness and this openness within ourselves. And then, of course, we're going to have voices in our head that pop up from time to time. Sometimes they are annoying and inconvenient, but they are part of our creative process, right? So when I say our parts, what I'm referring to is the different voices that we have at any given time that sort of pop in and have something to say. The part of us that's watching us do our thing, and it's like peeking in and being like, you can't say that. I don't know about that. You got to make it right. So we're going to always have voices in our head in our creative process. It's part of it, right? Those voices are very reliable that they'll be there. And the neat thing about your parts or your voices is that they're surprisingly agreeable. In other words, if you simply ask them, so acknowledge them, they're there, but there's no sense trying to kick them out of the process. They're there. They are ultimately the key to your healing and ultimately the key to opening up that part of yourself that is designed to be opened up so that you can be an even more expansive creator, right? So the things we want to hide from are often the things, if we just open that door willingly and lovingly, we'd be surprised at the amount of information that is here to help guide us, right? But sometimes they can feel like a distraction, right? And we know that there's nothing that they're here to help us with, or that's how it feels or seems. So we can actually ask those parts to give us space. Like I said, they're surprisingly agreeable. So give it a go. If you notice a part of you that's showing up and it's not going to give you the highest outcome, or it's not here to expand you, it's here to kind of try to dull you down a little bit, just ask it if it'll give you space. And I almost guarantee that it will. Most of the time they agree to step back. Okay. So that's a little trick there. Okay. All right. So, what I want to show you right now is the top three blockers, if you will, of your own creative flow. Okay. Just so that we can be aware of it. And then I have an antidote for it. So, these are the three pieces that are going to come in and they're going to take away your ability to be in flow. And so, when I say you're in flow, it's the state of mind, body, and soul where you are not aware of voices that are questioning or trying to pull you out. It is just this beautiful symbiotic relationship with you and source or God, whatever language you use. But it is this beautiful flow and this dance within yourself. And there is no judgment in this flow. There is no blocking voices. It is just you um, in the essence of who you are. But these three pieces, we can notice them. They're all very uncomfortable. The doubt, the disbelief that you could be enough, that what you have to say is enough, that it's the right way to say it, this disbelief that you could be that version of yourself who could say those things and be out in the world that way. The doubting can be also, is it safe for me to be myself? Is it okay? So we've got the doubt and the disbelief, and that voice will come in. So there's a part that holds a story that it's doubting and it doesn't believe things. Okay. So we have that. We'll have a part of us that wants to distract us, right? This is a big one. Like, I know this isn't just me. There's a part that's going to want to distract us. So it's going to try to find different ways to take us out of our focus flow because it may feel threatened by it, whatever the story is for that part. But there's going to be a part that wants to distract you. It might tell you to pick up your phone, answer emails. It might tell you to, oh, maybe you're hungry. Oh, maybe you need water. Oh, my kids need me. So there's lots of different ways that we can get distracted in the flow. And these can be just many, many things. Then we have a part that wants to disconnect us. Okay, so this is a big one. this disconnection piece. And you'll notice they're all kind of feeding into each other. Like sometimes they can all just show up like one big mass block of, but the disconnection is one that I really want to invite you into this way, which is the disconnection can happen. We call it exits in the work that I do. Like, are you exiting right now? Are you still here? You can tell that it's a very subtle, energetic thing that happens. You can tell that's happening within yourself, and you can feel it from somebody else. Like, are you still listening to me? Right? You know that. So we can do that within ourselves. So just keeping this within ourselves, this disconnection, where when things get uncomfortable, or maybe there's that like awkward conversation we have to have, or that feeling that's starting to bubble up inside of us, or even that part or that voice that's coming in. So the offer here and the invitation here is, while you're in your creative process, you feel a sense of disconnection, like, oh, I don't want to open this Pandora's box, or oh, I don't, whatever the feeling is, where you're like, oh, I don't want to go there, or oh, I want to exit from this. What if you stayed? So what if you stayed? What if you stayed? So there's like a rule of 90 seconds when it comes to emotions, for example. So you have this sensation or this feeling or this thought, this belief that's starting to come into your awareness. And you're like, oh, this is really uncomfortable. I don't want to feel this. If you actually allow yourself to feel it, and you decide to stay and stay open to the feeling that's arising in your body, typically it's only 90 seconds where there's this wave of intensity, and then we feel it, this apex, and then it naturally dissolves itself, right? It's about 90 seconds. So there's this 90 seconds that if we just stayed, we could actually just allow it. And then it's easier to let the feeling pass through us rather than be the feeling or try to push the feeling away. So when we resist something, it tends to persist, right? So what if you stayed? What if you stayed? What if you stayed? That's the invitation with all your creative flow, right? When you sense this disturbance in the system or discomfort, what if you stayed in that? Because it's oftentimes it's the very thing that's there to open the next gateway, right? That next iteration of this knowing that we're coming deeper into, that awareness, right? We're trying not to be something or feel something. It's another way that we can disconnect from our flow and take ourselves out of the very thing that if we stayed, we would have a new insight. We would have a new sensation in our body. So this is a really big one. What if we stayed? What if we stayed? Okay. Feel that one? All right. And so the last thing that I want to share to help set us up for success in this series is this sort of cycle of the creative cycle, if you will. Okay. The cycle of when we begin a flow, either a project or a new iteration of awareness of ourselves, or we're moving through something, it's always going to follow a cycle. So all life moves in cycles, right? Life is not a set of stairs that we're climbing, right? It's not a set of stairs. There's no like this idea of like a next level is just another cycle, right? Universe, energy, all things prefers circles and cycles and orbs, right? It prefers a circle versus anything linear or anything in a step-like formation. So it's always a cycle, and we're no different. So in this cycle of your own creative process, whatever's even brought you to this series, right? You're going to resonate with one of these four quadrants more than others. Of course, we could find ourselves in all of them at the same, like, well, I just resonate with all of them. But that's another way that we can kind of distract ourselves or distort information, is to go on this belief that if I'm in all of them. Well, then if we're in all of them, how are we going to know where we're moving into next, or what we can best do if we're in all of them? It's just that there's a lot of balls in the air there. So the invitation here is to decide to focus on the biggest resonancy of each of these quadrants. So which one is going to which one right now resonates with you? And then that's where you're going to focus your writing on today. Okay. So I'm not going to give deep descriptions for each of the four, because sometimes too much information muddles our knowing, right? Too much information muddles our knowing. So every cycle begins with a question or a desire, a curiosity to know something, right? Curiosity to know something. Something within myself is asking. There's a part of me that's asking a question, right? And so coming to your intention of what you wanted to use this series for, coming into that intention, what's the desire, the question that you want? Perhaps you've already asked that, you're already aware of that. So you're very aware of this, like, well, I know what the question is, I know the curiosity. So then you move into the phase where once you ask a question, immediately information starts to appear for you if you're open and you want to know the answer, right? Then you either in the formation of we're gathering information, I'm gathering experiences around this desire, like uh, whatever that could be for you, whatever experiences are in relationship to the question that you want to know. It's also a place where we tune into the parts of us, ourself, that already has the answer, that's already aware of it, right? That has that knowing. We came here with all the information that we need to know in so many ways. And somewhere along the line, we've forgotten. We've forgotten that we have that guidance. We've forgotten that we have the internal resources. We've forgotten that it's safe to know. So, the second portion of this cycle is that we're gathering information, right? This is where maybe we have lots of post-its everywhere, or we have journals filled with all the things, and we've got that. You then move into the place where you want to distill it down. Okay, we want to distill this knowing down. We want to distill the gathering of all the things, and we want to distill it down. And we want to look for the essence. We want to look for the core pillars where if I were to pick the ultimate truths, the guiding forces in all of this information, what is that for me? What are the core truths? What are the core pillars? What is the essence of this message that I'm gathering all the information about? Because I asked a question. Then we're going to gather, and then we're going to refine it and distill it down to the pillars. So if you have a message that you're here to share in terms of, say, your heart-centered, soul-centered business, whatever that is for you, having core pillars to guide you is really, really helpful because it allows you to create content from those pillars. It allows you to create courses from those pillars. It allows you to refine, reform, distill down what the truths are for you. And they're not stagnant things. They are going to shift and change just like you shift and change. Once you feel like this is anchored in you, right? Let me rephrase that. You have to decide that you're ready. You have to decide that you have what you need to move forward into this self activation, where now you're going to start to share it. So we're not looking for perfection in this third quadrant. We could stay here forever, refining and distilling down, right? So at some point, you need to activate it in order to clarify it, in order to ask the next question and have that next curiosity that's going to refine your cycle even more. Do you see how it all works? So we want to activate and share, and we don't want to stay in any of these places for too long, right? Because cycles don't want that. All things want to move, all energy wants to move. So, too, does your creative cycle as well. So, we don't want to stay in any of these for too long. We want to keep moving forward, even if we're not perfectly ready, because that's another way that we can stall our own development is waiting for this perfection to arrive, right? We are the perfection. We're already perfect, right? So we get to move forward. And then we get to ask another question and carry ourselves through. So this cycle is beautiful in that it can apply to everything and anything, and it has no timeline. So I can take myself through this creative cycle to make dinner. What should I make for dinner? There's my question. What do I have? I have, whatever I have in the lentils in my fridge. Oh, I know that there's like great dal I can make from lentils. So I'm going to make that and I'm going to share with my family. Like that's a bit of a different metaphor example, but like, do you see how quickly you can move through one of these cycles in like 2 minutes? And it can take a year for you to move through this cycle when it comes to another area of your life, right? Like let's say the heart-centered business that you want to start sharing or that you are sharing and you want to refine it. So give yourself the time it takes, and you get to move forward at a much faster rate than you think many of the times. So that's what I wanted to share there. The rest of these questions, or the rest of this portion, I'm going to be sharing over, dropping in over the next couple of days. So definitely come tomorrow if you weren't able to make it tonight. If you're rewatching this, you're getting a bit of a longer version of what I shared earlier. And I'm also going to leave these up so you can press pause on the video and you can have a copy of these. These are prompting questions that we use tonight, as well as many others that were just organically created through the conversation that we all had. So these are some really great prompts to start you excavating within yourself. There were a few other prompts that I had shared for those that were just here to do content for their business, and I'm going to share those separately so that you'll be able to see them because they were put in the chat. That is it for now. I'm so excited for the next couple of days to hang out, to play, to move, to dance, to write, to create, to just allow ourselves to be in this creative flow that we all so, so deeply desire and deserve. And the world is waiting for us. The world is waiting for us. We are the guided ones, and we are the ones we've been waiting for. Have a fantastic day, and I'll see y'all tomorrow, 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.